Save me from some phone calls. I'd rather be here than making phone calls.
Good evening. My name is Joanna Daniel. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Topsfield, Boxford, and Middleton. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, multi-issue organization dedicated to voter service and voter education. Tonight's forum will give you the opportunity to hear the positions of Andrew Armata and Mark Cacciano, the candidates for Democratic nomination for the 1st Essex and Middlesex Senatorial District. This forum is being taped for broadcast on local cable access channels, and I'd like to thank Seth Albaum for running our camera tonight. I'd also like to thank Mary Jane Morin for organizing this event. And finally, I'd like to thank and introduce our moderator for tonight, Liz Richter, the president of the League of Women Voters of Andover.
Hi, I'm delighted to be here and am honored to represent the League of Women Voters in moderating this debate. As you know, this is a debate between the two candidates for the Democratic nomination for state senator in the 1st Essex Middlesex district, which extends from Wilmington to Gloucester. So my first job, an important job, is to go over the ground rules for tonight's debate. The purpose of these ground rules is to provide a nonpartisan and fair forum for both candidates. This structure is in keeping with the League's mission, which is to promote the informed and active participation of citizens in government. So, the ground rules are as follows. First of all, each candidate will have 3 minutes to make an opening statement. Then, written questions will be accepted from the audience. We've also solicited questions in advance from those who are not able to attend in person tonight. All questions must concern either relevant issues or the candidate's qualifications for office. The League reserves the right to screen questions and to ignore questions it considers inappropriate for this debate. And in particular, personal questions or comments which seek to impugn a candidate's integrity will be ruled out of order and ignored. The League may also consolidate similar questions in the interest of time. Each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes to respond to each question, and questions must be directed to both candidates. We will alternate the order of candidates presenting their views. So a different candidate will start each time, now that I've confused you. And finally, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make his closing statement. So as I say, the order of response will alternate, and it will alternate alphabetically. So Mr. Armata will deliver the opening statement first, then Mr. Cacciano will answer the first question first, and then Mr. Armata will answer the second question. Got it? Good. Now, when the debate is complete, and we think maybe in about an hour, as I say, we'll have the 2-minute closing statements. Finally, before we begin, I'd like to ask you to note our timekeeper, Kathy Thurston, and more important, to pay attention as she holds up her time signs. And if you get the stop sign. If you could just complete the sentence you're in the middle of and stop, that would be great. We're ready to begin, but first let me just reiterate what Joanna said. We have index cards available on tables. I have some questions already, but please feel free to write questions that occur to you as we go on, and I will get them and we will incorporate them. So, we are going to begin, and Mr. Armada will deliver his opening remarks first.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank the League for putting this on, as well as the local access cable, who's going to rebroadcast this later. My name again is Andy Armada. I am a Democratic candidate running for State Senate in this 1st Essex and Middlesex District. I believe people should demand one thing from their elected representatives, and that is results. Lately, I don't believe we've been getting them. This election is about choice. It's about the status quo or change. It's about business as usual or problem solving. We need and deserve somebody on Beacon Hill who will bring energy, innovation, and creativity to state government. There's an old saying that 90% of life is showing up and 10% is what you do. I believe that we, as future elected legislators, should turn that upside down. We should expect our elected officials to show up. I think we should hold our commendations until they get things done. Everybody's for better education, better health care, and better jobs, a cleaner and safer environment. What we need is a leader who won't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. I care deeply about this district and the issues affecting it. I've lived in this district my whole life. I am the only candidate in this race who has offered a specific plan for change, a plan to make short-term improvements that at the same time that have been too long in coming, and long-term strategies to get the most out of our government. My plan calls for reforming and investing in education and using new initiatives to increase economic opportunity for workers and business owners. It calls for continued economic expansion in our district, but smart expansion, and a public and private strategy to make business and government work more efficiently. Finally, it calls for a revolution in government to provide more information, more choice, more services with less bureaucracy. This campaign is about the American dream. It's about giving people the ability to succeed. Government should not determine what success is, but it should give people the tools they need to achieve their dreams. I want people to have the sense again that their government is working for them, making a difference in their lives, listening to what they have to say, and then bringing back results from state government. It is time you had a state senator who didn't just agree with whatever you said and put on a smiling face. You deserve more than smiling pictures and handshakes. You deserve more than the same old rhetoric. I look forward to answering your questions here tonight and along the campaign trail, as well as being elected your next state senator. I will be the most accessible candidate in this state.
Thank you.
Do I still have 30 seconds? Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Caggiano?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark Caggiano. I'm from North Andover and have lived there with my wife and 2 children for 7 years. I'm also a lawyer practicing in Middleton, Mass, where we are right now, probably a mile from here. So this is a home country for me. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I am running. It's sort of a strange thing to suddenly decide that you want to represent 150,000 people, and it takes a certain amount of hubris and self-importance to do that. And I wanted to explain to you why I'm going to do it and why I think that service of the district is the most important thing that I can do at this point in my life. The present incumbent, Bruce Tarr, has been in office for some time now, and in fact has run unopposed the last 2 election cycles. And that was something which, as I went to the polls, stuck in my craw, because I like choice. I want to know that the person who I am casting a ballot for is the most qualified candidate. And I feel that I am the most qualified candidate in this race of the 3 people running. I attended Harvard College for undergraduate degree and got my degree in psychology. I attended Boston College Law School, where I also graduated and began practicing law in Boston. I practiced in Boston for about 10 years and then decided I wanted to live to be 40 and opened my own practice in Middleton, Mass. But I also decided that it was time for me to give back to the public. I've represented people and businesses in their interests for, as I said, over 10 years. And I wanted to take that experience, that real-world experience and knowledge, not only as a lawyer, but as a father, as a citizen, as a volunteer, and to spread that around and to make it usable for the people at large. I think it's important that we as citizens get more active in the process, and I thank the League especially for their work in putting on this event and trying to stimulate more than the apathetic response that people have right now to politics. It's interesting to see that as you drive around, there are signs cropping up everywhere, but there's very little cognizance of the election yet. And I think that we need to get people energized about government, about politics, and about the ways that it can really help people in their real lives. And in this particular year where we have budget crises and we also have a real selection of candidates, it's important that we take a moment to think about the issues and go through it and make our decision about the best person, the best qualified candidate. And honestly, let's get beyond the popularity contest, which is the way we typically run our political system. So thank you, and I hope you have some great questions for me.
Thank you, Mr. Caggiano. And I think we do have some very good questions, and I will start with you with the first one, which is, there are 17 towns in the first Essex, Middlesex district. How will you familiarize yourself with the peculiarities of each town?
Well, what I've done so far is pretty straightforward. I read all of the local papers that serve these various communities, and do so with an eye towards keeping myself aware of the various issues. For example, Middleton, North Andover, and Boxford have been dealing with a pipeline issue, which I'm very familiar with, unfortunately, given that it's a quarter of a mile from my home. Gloucester and Rockport are in the throes of dealing with the fishing industry regulation, a crisis of affordable housing, water shortages. The same is true for Newbury, which is fighting a battle for water resources with Newbury Port. So I'm very familiar with the issues of the various towns, and it's my job to be very familiar with those issues. So I plan on going to the towns if I'm elected and having town meetings and office hours in every town on a rotating basis. I plan on having offices in the district, not just sitting up on Beacon Hill, and I'll do my best to stay familiar with it, the various issues that people have concerns about. So when we talk about a person providing constituent services within the district, it's just a question of accessibility. If people want to come to my office in Boston, if they want to come to see me in Middleton or wherever, it's something that I will make myself available, whether by phone, in person, or on the internet. And I think that's just simply part of the job. And learning the issues regarding the various towns, I've done it and I've kept track of them, and hopefully we can have someone in the district